All right, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. As we get started, we're just going to wait 1 or 2 minutes to let everybody get joined properly, and then we will get started with our content. Feel free to use the chat function in Zoom. You can let us know where you're joining us from, what kind of work you're scheduling and time tracking for. It's always really interesting for us to get to know you all a little bit better before we get started, and it takes up the 1 or 2 minutes that we do wait in a productive way. So definitely chat with us, and we will get started here shortly. Cara and I have been, just a little bit of background on us, we have been working with When I Work for quite some time now. We have worked with so many customers, workplaces, and use cases. So we have probably seen a use case similar to one that you all are trying to set up and work that you are managing in When I Work or wanting to manage in When I Work. So let us know what kind of work you oversee, and then again, we will get started here shortly. Awesome. I see Janelle from Vancouver scheduling for 8 shop locations, vape shop locations. Welcome. We do schedule for so many companies around the US nationally and of course around the world as well. So we see a ton of users from Canada, Europe, the UK, all over. So welcome everyone. And we have Lisa scheduling childcare with college students. We see a ton of childcare companies, daycare come through, so we've definitely seen use cases similar to yours, Lisa. All right. Looks like we could probably go ahead and get started. I'm seeing most attendees have pretty much leveled off. So welcome everybody one last time to the live Q&A. We're so happy to have you all join, and we're really excited to help you get started with When I Work. So during the next 30-ish minutes, we're going to be answering your When I Work questions. We are going to show you some ways that you can save time scheduling, cut down on overtime costs, run payroll, but our content is going to be directed by all the questions that you all ask us today. So we're going to try to get to all the questions, but they are going to be flowing in. So we'll try to get to them all, we promise. But if your question doesn't get answered or you come up with a new question along your way, you can always chat with us live. So listen for more information at the end of the webinar. We will go over all the different ways that you can get in contact with us and get the support that you need. If you're totally new to When I Work and just checking out your new account and the different plans that we offer, we're also going to outline how you can go about choosing your plan and upgrading your account, and we'll do that at the end. So stick around for that if you're interested. And if you are just joining us to ask questions on your existing account and you are already using When I Work and just had a question that you wanted to see live, you're welcome as well. So go ahead and ask those questions. Everyone is welcome here. So we can actually go ahead and get started. So during this webinar, we will be using the Q&A tool. So all of your questions you can submit to the Q&A. We are going to be looking there. Cara is going to go through that Q&A button, and she's going to try to grab as many questions as she can. And I will be sharing my screen and giving you a visual demo of the answers to your questions so you can actually see a real When I Work account in action to better help understand the questions. So while I change my screen over to my When I Work screen, feel free to start popping your questions in that Q&A. You can do it now or at any time during the webinar. All right. So now you should be seeing my When I Work screen. This is my When I Work account. I'm just logged in as the main admin user of this account, just the person who's set up as an admin. It's going to be the person that has the highest access level, essentially can do all the scheduling, change any settings, and view the account and billing page. This top menu bar is your main navigational center, I like to say, for your When I Work account. This is where you can access all the different landing pages to the products that we offer. So your scheduler here, where you can set shifts and publish and notify the shifts to your employees. The attendance tool, where you can have employees clock in and out and run payroll. And then the work chat tool, which is our in-app messaging system. And then here on the top menu bar on the right-hand side, this is where you can find the workplace icon. This is where you can add information into your account, like your employees, create shift templates, things like that. And your really important gear menu icon. This is where you can find all of the settings within your account. So your general account settings, scheduling settings, and attendance settings are like the three main most important ones. And then of course your account and billing page, where you can see all of the billing information for your account. So with that, that's kind of the high level overview. I always want to make sure we go over those basic, really important When I Work buttons. But with that, we can go ahead and get started with questions.
Awesome. All right. The first question we have is from Alexia. So she has a boutique and she runs 3 different locations. Would I use schedules or job sites for that?
Really good question. This question comes up a lot. And I really quickly want to mention that we do have a need help center here. And this is where you can access all of our help articles. So I'm going to go over the difference between schedules and job sites and why you would use either one. But if you did want to have more in-depth information on the differences between schedules and job sites to help break up your account by location, check out the Help Center, and there's an article that will go through different scenarios and which method you should choose. But of course, we'll go over it now and you can chat with us if you have questions. But essentially, there are 2 ways that you can split up your accounts by locations. So in this case, I think it was a couple of boutique locations. And if you have 2 or maybe 3 or 4 set locations, maybe they're retail locations, coffee shops, things like that, I would recommend splitting up your account into multiple schedules. You can create one schedule for each location. So you can create your schedules by clicking into the workplace icon and clicking on schedules. Right now I have 2 schedules built out, and these are for 2 different locations essentially. Back in the scheduler here, on this left-hand side menu, this is where you can toggle between the different schedules/locations that you've made. So here I'm just on my central perk locations. All of these shifts are set to this location, and all of the employees that are assigned to this schedule will show up on the schedule. If I click the little down arrow bar, I can click over into my other schedule. And these are the 3 employees that are also assigned to this location. And if you do have an employee that is assigned to both locations, you will always see that they have shifts. If they have a shift at the other schedule, you'll always be sure to see it on the other schedule that they are assigned to, just so you don't double book them. So if you are working with multiple locations, just know that we will always show every shift scheduled if your employees can cross over locations. But essentially, you'll easily be able to just create shifts for your employees at that location and then toggle to the next location that you want to be working at. So again, if these are set locations, teams, or departments, I would use the multiple schedule tool and just toggle between your different schedules. If you want to assign locations to a particular shift within one schedule, you can use the job site tool for that, rather than using the multiple schedule tool. So the job site tool is just an assignment that is added onto a particular shift. So here you can see this 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. busser shift is at location A, and the location A portion, that is the job site. So when I click into this shift, this is where I can assign the job site to that shift. Job sites are really great use cases for if you have a lot of offsite locations. This is great for security companies, cleaning companies, construction companies, just where you have a lot of offsite locations that you're all wanting to manage on your one schedule, and you want to send your employees to those specific locations, and they can see it on their app. They can see it on their shift right away, which job site they're scheduled at. They can see a little map icon as well, map them to where they need to go. So that's a great use case for job sites. I've also seen job sites be used to indicate projects or even to allocate equipment to the different shifts. If you are a trucking company and you have 4 trucks and you want to make sure that no one is being double booked on trucks and each truck is being used, you could even use the job site tag for that. Once you have assigned all of your job sites within your shifts on your schedule, it might be a little bit overwhelming at first to see, to know where all of the shifts are taking place and which job sites are tagged to which shifts. And in that case, definitely use the filter options on the left-hand side. This is where you can filter out the shifts at certain job sites or just see specific job site shifts. So that way you can really whittle down and make sure that you have the proper coverage at each job site without seeing all the shifts at once. So it kind of gives you more visibility into your schedule. So those were the 2 different ways that you can create different locations in When I Work. And again, we do have a help article that will walk you through all these different scenarios. And we're here to chat if you have any questions on that as well.
Awesome. So related to this, Janelle asked, can my employees see all schedules or only the ones that they are scheduled on?
So employees will be able to see the schedules that they are tagged to. And if they are tagged to a specific schedule, you can also whittle that down further and have your employees see the schedule for all employees on that schedule or just their own schedule. And you can assign that from your scheduling settings here. So you can see employees can see when coworkers are scheduled versus if you toggle that off, your employees are only able to see their own schedule. So you do have quite a bit of customization there. If you want your employees to see the whole schedule and know, who's on shift with them, who's having time off, things like that, then you can turn that on and employees will be able to see their other coworkers.
Perfect. All right. Philip asks, what do all the different colors mean on the scheduler?
That's a really good question, Philip. I love using colors in my schedule. I'm very visual, and I think it really just helps break down in my brain what I'm actually seeing on my schedule. And the answer is you can set up colors for whatever you really want on your schedule. So in my case right now, the way that I've set up my account is I have split up the colors by positions on my schedule. So here you can see that the red ones are all my busser shifts, blue ones are my baristas, green is the cook. So for coverage, knowing which shifts are where, it really helps to split up by color. So it depends on your workplace, on what you might want to color your shifts. You could also, what I've seen is coloring shifts by time of day. So I've seen morning shifts be blue and I've seen evening shifts be red. And that kind of makes sense in my head. And so I've seen that be done. You can really color the shifts however you want to. You can color shifts one by one individually. If you just have a one-off shift that you want to have a different color, you can. You can just color them however you want manually. Or what you can do is I'm going to hover into my shift templates here. These are all of my pre-made templates, and I've assigned a color to all of my positions. But since they are here by time, you could always have a 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. shifts be one color, 9 to 5 be one color, etc. And then also when you are creating positions, and positions are assigned to each shift, I just have them the same colors as my shift templates, but you can assign colors to your positions as well. So then back in your scheduler, under your view options, you can customize what you're seeing the shift color as. So right now I'm seeing the shift color as my shift template, so the colors of my shift templates. But I could also see the colors as the colors of my positions, which are the same, so they're not going to really change. But then the third thing you can do is you can also see the colors of your shifts by the colors of your job sites, which I haven't colored in my account. But it would be the same way here as you colored all of the other the shift templates and the positions. You can add a color to all of your locations or job sites as well. And then in the scheduler, again, you can view your shift colors by job site. So you can see that these are the two with a job site added to them. So long story short, you can create colors for anything you want in When I Work. And I could go into all the different reasons that you could add colors, but it's really up to you and your imagination and what makes sense for your brain and for your workplace. But as kind of a rule, I love coloring my shift templates by position.
Wonderful. All right. So Nathan asks, where do we find the attendance tab to clock in and out? So this might be a good opportunity to go over all of our clocking options that we offer.
Good question. So within your account, you should see a little attendance tab up on the top menu bar. If you don't see the word attendance, you might be seeing the word time clock. And this might mean that within your account, your time clock is not activated yet. So just click on where it says time clock and it will step you through all the onboarding steps to just activate your attendance tool. Once you activate it, you should see the word attendance appear. So by hovering over that tool, I'm just going to click into my timesheets. And this is the landing page for the attendance tool. This is where you can see all of your employees' timesheets. Here is a more filled out timesheet. You can see all the in and out times for the different days within your payroll period, and then any details of the shifts that your employees are clocking for. Up here, this is where you can see your different pay periods, move between periods, and close out your payroll period at the end of the period, and create your payroll summary. And your employees can clock in and out 3 ways in When I Work. So the first way that your employees can clock in would be logging into their account on a computer. It's just like I am now, even as the admin, it's the same process. They would log into their account on their personal computer, hover over the attendance icon and click clock in. The second way would be an on-site only option, and that's locking a device at your workplace as a time clock terminal. So you could lock the terminal on a computer by clicking lock as terminal, or you could lock a smartphone, tablet, or iPad as a time clock terminal as well. And for that, you would just download the When I Work terminal app. It will come up just if you search When I Work, it'll probably be right below the main app that we have. So it'll be a separate app though. And then you'll just log in and configure it so it locks your device. Your employees would arrive at the workplace and type a code or their email to clock themselves in on site. And then the third way, and I always say the most popular way, is having your employees clock in and out on their mobile phones. So for this, they would download the When I Work app, which they probably already have because employees love to check their schedule on their mobile phones. So they probably already have it if you're creating a schedule for them. But once you turn on the mobile clock in option, they'll see a big green button that says clock in. And then they'll just hit that to click clock in. And then I'm going to go over a couple of attendance settings here just to show you how you can turn these things on and off, and then more options for clock in restrictions. So within your attendance settings, again, using that gear icon, you can turn on your mobile and your personal computer clock in options here. And then you can configure other settings that you need for the time clock tool. So you can configure pay periods if you want to set up breaks, if your employees are able to clock out for unpaid breaks, example, that would all be set here. And then notifications, if your employees miss their clock in and out. This has been really popular lately, I've had everyone asking me about our missed clock in and out notifications. So we do have those, and you can definitely configure those within your settings. And then if your employees are clocking in and out with their mobile app, we do have the ability to restrict their clock in. Of course, this is for personal computer as well, but it comes up more when the mobile app is in question, because it seems a little bit daunting to have your employees clocking in on their personal devices, especially when they truly are able to be anywhere while they have their devices on them. And you are able to restrict where your employees clock in and or out. They would be restricted to their scheduled location. So the first question we had was on schedules and job sites. So if they are scheduled for a shift and their schedule or job site has a coordinates or address added to it, and these settings are on, they will be restricted to their scheduled location before they can clock in or out. And then you'll just choose the distance for how far your employees need to be from that location to clock in. Mine's really, really large for some reason right now, but the minimum would be 100 meters, and that creates that geofence, as we call it. So your employees won't be able to clock in until they have reached 100 meters from their scheduled location. So this is really slick, really easy, and employees really will be held accountable to clocking in when they're supposed to be working and when they are on site. And along with the mobile and even personal computer clock-in restrictions, you could turn on the early clock-in prevention. So this, like it sounds, prevents employees from clocking in too early for their shifts. So this is gonna really help you cut down on those costs of employees maybe clocking in for times that they're not working. We know it happens. So you can always give a little bit of leeway, maybe 5 minutes before, or if you want your employees just to clock in right on time, choose 0 minutes before. And that's always a great option, along with that mobile clock-in restrictions. So your employees really will be clocking in when they're supposed to.
Awesome. All right. So I think we may have went over this a little bit in the settings, but how do you make edits to timesheets, and can employees edit their own timesheets?
Good question. I'm already here. So first I'm going to talk about if employees can edit their own timesheets. And the answer is yes, if you want them to, and no, if you don't want them to. You can always, from your attendance settings again, you can click to allow your employees to enter their own times into their timesheets and edit existing times within their timesheets. This is really giving them full access to changing any times and editing any times that they have within their timesheets and adding times without actually having a time punch. You always will be able to see when they added those, and if they added those, you'll see from the history of the timesheet who made changes and when the change was made. So you do have kind of the view into that if you are allowing your employees to edit their own timesheets. So never fear. But yes, you are allowed to have your employees edit their own timesheets. If this is checked, if this is not checked and you click save, then employees will only be able to clock in and out on the methods that you have turned on within your settings. So then the second question was if you can edit your employees' timesheets to fix anything. And yes, you will always be able to go into the system, make any edits that you need to, clock someone in if they forgot to or aren't available to. And any manager or supervisor will also be able to do that for the employees that they manage. So back in the timesheets, to add a time punch for any employee, if they maybe forgot or something, you can always add it in just by clicking into the cell, typing it in, and clicking enter or return. And then you can do the same to clock them out at the end of the day if you need to. And then you can add in any information about their specific shift. So which position they're working, if they had a break, things like that. And then your managers and supervisors will be able to do this as well. And then to make an edit to any timesheet, you can just click delete or backspace and type in a new time. So easy as that. Just like you would think, just making the edits, just using your keyboard, super easy.
Wonderful. All right. Let's see. Lots of questions coming in. You guys have lots of great questions today. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Shannon asks, how can I disable shift reminder emails for employees? So while we can't do that for employees, we can definitely show you where employees can do that for their own personal preferences.
Yes. And that's a really good question because it brings up more information about our notifications and alerts. And we have a lot of alerts in When I Work. And while that can be overwhelming, it's for a really good reason. We are great at helping employees know what's going on, boosting communication in your workplace. But if it's too much, you can always turn these off. And every employee can turn them off only for themselves. So there's also a Help Center article if you want to send to your employees on, it's just alert preferences. So setting your alert preferences, if you want to type that in, you can pull that article and send it to your employees. But essentially, they will log into their account on a computer, click over their name on the upper right-hand side, and just click My Alert Preferences. This is where they'll be able to see all of their alert preferences and how they've set them up. So these are all of the different alerts that we have, and there's a lot, but they're all for a different thing and just really helping boost that communication and making sure everyone's showing up on time, everyone's remembering to clock in, all that kind of stuff. And since I'm logged in as an admin, I have a couple more alert references than an employee would have. Stuff like payroll reminders. Your employees aren't going to get that because they don't run payroll. So they can choose either if they want to receive something just by email, just by mobile, or both, or even neither. If they don't want any of those specific types of notifications, just uncheck all of those notifications that they have. Shift reminders, just turn those off. Although these are a really good option for employees, reminding them of their shifts like 2 hours before, 4 hours before, 1 hour before. Really great tool. But then if you want to turn them off, go ahead and turn them off and just remember to click save, just so all those preferences are saved. And if one or two gets in between the cracks, it might just have been sent right before the save or something like that. But you can always turn off all of these alerts because sometimes it doesn't even make sense for your workplace to have them. But yeah, so all employees will be able to do that on their end.
Wonderful. This time always goes so fast. So we have a few questions about what is included in the plans and if we offer customer support. So that's a good place to go to our ending slides here.
Really great question. Okay. So I've got a little bit of information, not too much, because we have it all on our website. But the different plans that we offer are super condensed now. We did condense the plans and make it easy to help you figure out which plan you need. So for under 100 users, we have the small business plan. This includes everything from creating shifts, availability, time off, task management, document storage. All of those amazing tools are available with the small business scheduling plan. So anything that has to do with scheduling. If you still have under 100 users and you need any attendance tools, so any of the clocking in, clocking out, mobile clock in functionality, that will all come with the attendance add-on. So again, this is anything that has to do with the time clock, kind of what we talked about near the end of the webinar. So if you need just scheduling, that's fine. You can just have scheduling. And if you need the attendance add-on, there'll be small business scheduling plus attendance. Super easy. We have really made it easy to figure out what you need. And if you have over 100 users, definitely reach out to us and we'll get you in contact with someone. We have an enterprise plan for those bigger companies with a couple more very important tools, basically. All right, so within your account, this is where you can actually view the plan that you're on and see the different plans that we offer with every single feature within it. So access your account and billing page from that gear icon and then click upgrade my account. This is where you can configure which plan you want. So scheduling or the time clock as well. And then you can configure your billing frequency. It's either monthly or annually. Very simple. Either pay monthly or pay for the year upfront. Once you are on this page, you can see the full feature list for all of the tools that we have. So if you just want to check again what you're paying for, that will all be within your account here as well. Once you check out and activate, you'll be choosing the amount of users you need. This is where you can mock up what your price might be, depending on which billing frequency, which plan, and how many users. And then you can just purchase from right within your account on your own time. You don't have to talk to anyone or do anything special. It's just from within your account. So feel free to do that at any time once you're comfortable. But if you have any questions on which plan's right for me, is When I Work right for me, or you get stuck somewhere, or you just want some, help setting up your account and some advice, you can always chat with us. And you can chat with us from within your account. So log into your account and click the chat icon on the lower right-hand side of your account. You can also email us at gettingstarted@wheniwork.com if you don't have an account yet, or you just prefer email right away. And all of this information has been sent out in the chat tool. So take a look at the chat and there should be a ton of links and information for getting started and for getting in contact with us. But again, the easiest and fastest way is just by chatting from within your account. And the link to sign up for an account for a trial is in the chat as well. So copy all those links and they'll be your perfect onboarding packet. I always like to think of it as. But if you have any questions that maybe you want to look up on your own, you can always use our help center. You can find that within your account as well, just under the Need Help tab. And then if you want to watch a training, we have a training resource center for management and employees. So from the same Need Help tab, you'll see Training Center. So click on the Training Center and that will pop open all of the training resources and videos we have. So definitely look at those right as you get your account set up. You'll want to look at those and it'll help you just from A to Z getting your account set up correctly and for success. But even if you don't use those, When I Work is super simple and it's really easy to use. So just go for it. And if you have any questions as you get started, you just want someone to talk to as you get started, just chat with us. We are here to help. We'll be on chat right after this. So if your question didn't get answered or you have something else you want to chat about, we're available and we want to make sure that your questions get answered. So with that, I've rambled on long enough. Make sure to copy all those tools that we sent out in the chat. It's just our onboarding packet. But thanks everyone for joining us today, for all of your questions, and definitely chat with us if you have any others.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.